Okay, I think we're ready to roll. Let me just go back to the right page. Original sound. Give me 1 second. Actually, okay. Yes. All right. So, all right. I know you want to see my picture. There we go. So, whoops. Turn off the phone. Okay, everybody. So we will chant Jai Radhamadava, and then right after that, I promised Ishwar Chaitanya and his sister Sundari Radha, who are not there right now. They were there a second ago. They could say their offerings. Or anyway, let's chant. Oh, there they are. There he is, right there in the corner. His new name is Leela Shakti. So, okay, good to see everybody. So first we're going to chant Jai Radha Madhava, and then we will allow these young folks to make their offerings, and then we'll continue with our Bhagavad Gita study. Ready? Okay, I think we got everything set. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giribharadhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giribharadhari Yashoda Nandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Banachari Jamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Randhu Madhuva Kunya Vihari Jaya Radha Madhuva Kunya Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giribharadhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giribharadhari Yashoda Nandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Banachari Yamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhuva Kunya Vihari Jaya Radha Madhuva Kunya Vihari Jaya Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Paravatikacharya also Teta Sutashi Shimad His Divine Grace Sabaya Chananada Bhaktivedanta Goswami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shidwaita Gadadha Shiva Sadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shyam Kund Radhakunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavanam Ki Jai Maturam Ki Jai Jagannath Swami Ki Jai Yamunamai Ki Jai Shrimati Lasi Devi Ki Jai Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Gaur Premananda Hari Hari Gaur. All glory is the assembled devotees. All glory is the assembled devotees. All glory is the assembled devotees. All glory is to Shri Guru and Gauranga. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasaya Bhutale. Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namani Namaste Saraswati Devi Govardhani Pachari Nidashesha Srinivadi Paschata Dejatarni Prabhupada ki jai. All right, so we have some Vyasa Puja offerings from Ishwar Chaitanya and Sundari Radha. Is that right? So you can unmute yourself. Hopefully your microphone will work this time.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, finally.
Here.
Better to see you now.
Namo Vishwavadaya Krishna Staya Vutale Shimati Birkurasa Swamp Namane Namo Hamsana Kasaya Papa Priate Sujita Shinashivam Srivadine Namo Vishwavadaya Krishna Staya Vutale Shimati Bhaktivedanta Swamp Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Vicharne Nirvasesha Shanibari Pasite Sarane. So I noticed that coming to the morning program really helps me appreciate Srila Prabhupada, especially when seeing the Guru Vandana and Guru Vasika prayers, because it is described in the Guru Vasika prayers, verse, that he is like the cooling rains that puts out the fire of material existence. And of course, if it wasn't for Srila Prabhupada, we wouldn't have a morning program. So I'd like just to express my gratitude to Srila Prabhupada by being able to serve his mission to the best of my ability.
Haribo. Very nice. And how old are you now, Ishwar Chaitanya?
13.
13. And so he's being educated by, I would say, the most expert teacher in the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, Champaka Lata, who's conducting online school because we're in lockdown. And I was just talking today to another one of my disciples who's remained nameless because he's on the line, about what happens when kids are little baby goats, but when children go go to go to public school and they're trying to be Krishna conscious, and even if they're not trying to be Krishna conscious, but they happen to be a little different than other kids, they actually get harassed, abused, sometimes even beaten up, made fun of. And so by the time they're finished going to public school, many of them don't want to be devotees, or they want to hide the fact that they're devotees. And or even private school. I was talking to a devotee today who went to private school and he had a similar experience. So it's very, very dangerous out there. And then, of course, the social pressure. This devotee was telling me that there was social pressure to break the illicit sex regulated principles, and they would actually meet together and discuss who was going to break the regulated sexual principle first. And the boys would say, let's figure out how to do it. And this is really what's going on. I mean, I've seen many of the devotee children who have gone to public school have really problems with understanding their identity, not only as devotees, but even as human beings. I mean, fortunately, when I was young, the world was a simpler place. Everybody was kind and Krishna conscious. No, not really, but it was a different world. And I was also pretty much aloof from everybody because I was Mr. Nerd. But so anyway, so we see in the case of Ishwar Chaitanya and his sister, you're going to be hearing from in a second, they've actually been protected from that, and they're not suffering due to lack of social interaction or clubs or whatever people do in these different schools. It's not that they're suffering, having psychological problems. Just like right now, the people in America are talking about how their kids are having psychological problems because they have to attend school online and they can't associate and party with their school, with their friends in school. But I tell you, it's not that the kids are having psychological problems. The parents are having psychological problems because they don't know how to deal with the kids. It's interesting because they've never had the kids alone before or at home for such long periods of time before. And then usually they just buy their kids the latest video games so the kids can be just like zone out for a few hours a day and don't bother their parents. So anyway, Ishwar Chaitanya and his sister, even when I offered them Maya, they refused to accept. I said to them, would you like to go to Disneyland? Or Disney World, sorry. What did you say?
No way.
Would you like to go bungee jumping?
No.
Would you like to, let's see, what other Maya can we think of? Would you like to go to the zoo?
Definitely not.
Oh my God. I like to go to the zoo. I'm going to take you all to the zoo. Actually, we don't even have to go to the zoo. We just have to go to some city. It's like a zoo. Anyway, the animals in the zoo. It's interesting to see the animals doing the same thing that people are doing in human society, eating, sleeping, mating, depending, but in a more sophisticated way. So, I mean, they were raised protected by their parents, and the parents loved to have them at home, right? Yeah, your parents love to have you home. They're not thinking, oh, let them find some soccer game and let me be a soccer mom or a soccer pop. What we call it, sucker mom or soccer pop. And they're just thinking, we love our children. I mean, this is very rare nowadays to find parents who actually like just love their children, and the children grow up very well balanced as the parents as role models and also as the adults in their community as Krishna conscious role models. So here's an ideal example. Okay, so enough glorification. So let's put your sister up.
Yep.
How,
Okay.
how old are you? How old are you?
16.
16. And you're happy?
Yep.
Would
Most
you
of the
like a
time.
would you like a fast sports car?
I'm scared of driving.
But you're happy, you like your teacher?
Yes, of course. I love Champaka.
All right, so let's hear your offering. You're on mute again. Somehow or other you put yourself on mute. Unmute yourself, okay.
Panchakalpa Churvasya Kripa Sindhu Vevita Patita Nam Pavanavya Vaishnavavya Namo Namaha. Okay, well, first of all, I'm very thankful for the Krishna consciousness movement because, like you were just saying, Gurudev, there's all this suffering going on in the world because of this coronavirus or whatever. And everybody doesn't know what to do with themselves anymore because they were just doing ignorant activities. So now that all the ignorance is shut down, they don't know what to do. So it's a good time to preach and tell everybody about Krishna. And we wouldn't be able to do that without Srila Prabhupada, who came here on a rickety boat just to tell all these people in the West about Krishna. And I'm very thankful for that, first of all. And I was remembering for a while, for a few years, we were watching one of Prabhupada's chatters from Shruta Kirti. He let us, while he was moving to Vrindavan, he was letting us keep it for safekeeping. And every time, I looked at the chatter, there was always some sort of little stain, and I would always think, where'd the stain come from? And just looking at it and just touching your hands to it always just calmed the mind down. So I'm very thankful we had that. We had one of Srila Prabhupada's possessions, one of Srila Prabhupada's items in our possession. It actually really transformed whichever house we were staying at, and it just completely transformed it into some spiritual world. I'm very thankful that we had the opportunity to watch that. And I'm just very thankful to be going to a Krishna conscious school and be engaged in devotional service, like doing the camera work every morning. It's taxing, but it's very fulfilling to
have everybody who isn't so close to the temple be able to get the association of everybody. So I'm just very thankful that I get to do service, and very thankful to Srila Prabhupada for bringing a Krishna consciousness to the West, because I would definitely be in some sort of mire right now, probably extremely depressed. So thank you, Srila Prabhupada, and thank you, Gurudev.
Haribol. Very nice. Put yourself on mute. See, it's very, very, very nice. It's very, actually, it's very inspiring to hear these young people who are just like so Krishna conscious. And it's, like I said, it takes a village to raise the children. So we have a nice Krishna conscious village for children here. Anybody who wants to move to Nugaloka, please put in your applications now. Champaka is accepting more teachers. And the interesting thing I was thinking about is, I was thinking about it today, and I want to do some more talks about it, perhaps with Champaka later on, is that she has like a one-room schoolhouse. I don't know if any of you know what a one-room schoolhouse is. A one-room schoolhouse is where you have various grades or various ages of children educated simultaneously, and they're helping each other learn different things. And this was actually, I learned from Champaka and my guru, Mother Urmila. I'm saying that facetiously to avoid trauma. So anyway, I learned that this was the actual system of education that was traditional all over the world until people wanted to exploit children and turn the education of children into like mass production factory. Isn't that true, Champaka? A mass production factory, like when Henry Ford, I don't know if he invented, but he actually started this big mass production thing where you can actually produce automobiles just by having each person do one part of the automobile and be a specialist in that one part. Like if one person will put one screw in, another person will put another screw in. And so they thought, well, let's do the same thing with children. Let's mass produce children. Instead of giving them a personalized education in a natural environment is when you have children of all ages together, and the older children are helping the younger children. So I very much appreciate that particular understanding. And I'd like to have somehow or other an internet discussion with either Champaka or Mataji Urmila about that, just to make certain points. And I think that maybe many even ISKCON schools are going in the wrong direction in that regard. To have like all these different grades and people graduating from different grades instead of having the children learn from each other and teach each other. Because when you teach, you learn. Okay, that was my little bully pulpit speech for today. So we're going to go on. We're going to go on to the Bhagavad Gita right now, and also, I'd just like to give my thanks to the devotees who helped me upgrade my computer equipment, so I can come to you like this, and especially Nitai Pod. I'm not supposed to mention his name. He got very upset right now. To help me, and now, so I've upgraded my equipment right now with all the computer and cameras and everything like that. So in the future, I can give classes the way I want to give classes, which is not just sitting down but walking around, because I have this nice camera now that I can just walk around anywhere I go and yell at you. So anyway, so this will actually help, because I want to give some empathic communication classes, which it's not my nature actually to sit down and give class. It's my nature to walk around and give class. Because if you go to any school, usually the teachers are walking around and giving class or standing up or something like that. Oh, Ma Mantra's joining us. He's with Jivanath. Say Hare Krishna, Jivanath. Nice to see you. Don't get in an accident.
Okay, no.
He's driving. they're in Fiji, and they're driving
Yeah,
to some
Lambasa.
Oh, you're in Lambasa, and you're driving to some preaching engagement.
Yes.
Actually, I'll call you, Deepanath, I'll call you later after my class because I wanted to speak to you
I'll
about
call
something.
you later after his class.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, because I wanted to speak to you about something in Lambasa. Lambasa is on one of the second island in Fiji, for those of you who don't know. Anyway, it's nice to see all my friends from around the world. It's like a big family. Every night is like a family reunion for me. This is better than traveling, basically. All right. So now let's get on to the real business of today, which is the Bhagavad Gita. So, Om Gana Timiranda Shah Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Meditam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurvaya Namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of my spiritual master, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, who so kindly opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge while I was blinded in the darkness of ignorance. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Okay, so we are still on the 11th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, which is the frightening universal form, which I mentioned to all of you before, that I am not at all interested in seeing Krishna's universal form. I hope Krishna never shows it to me. I want to see Krishna's original form in Vrindavan with his eternal associates, the gopis and the cowherd boys, and somehow or other get that particular spurti or vision. So let's continue. We are on the, 35th verse in the 11th chapter of the Gita. So we'll continue reading. Sanjaya vacha etat shrutva vachanam keshavasya Kritanjali vepamana kiriti namaskrita bhuya evaha krishnam sagadgadam bita bita pranamya. Sanjaya vacha, Sanjaya said, etat, thus, Shutva, hearing, Vachanam, the speech, Keshavasya, of Krishna, Krita Anjalihi, with folded hands, Vepamanaha, trembling, Kiriti, Arjuna, Namaskritva, offering obeisances, Bhuya, again, Eva, also, Aha, said, Krishna, unto Krishna, Sa Gad Gadam, with a faltering voice, Bita, Bita, fearful, Pranamya, offering obeisances. So Sanjaya said to Dhritarashtra, O king, after hearing these words from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the trembling Arjuna offered obeisances with folded hands again and again. He fearfully spoke to Lord Krishna in a faltering voice as follows. So, also, let me just mention this word Gadgada. Gadgada, Rudya, Gita. That's also in the Shikshashtaka. Bahukara, Tabanama Grane, Vishati, Nainam Galu Ashradaraya, Nam Gadgada, Rudaya Gira, Pulaka Nichatam Bahukada, Kavama Nama Grahane Vishati. Where Lord Chaitanya says, when will that day be mine? Nainam Galu, where tears will come from my eyes like torrents of rain, and they will be trembling in my body on account of spiritual trance, like this. So Arjuna, of course, is trembling because he's seeing this frightful form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And how do I know he's feeling fear? Because it says here, he fearfully spoke to Lord Krishna in a voice as follows. So this is a frightful form of the Lord. As I mentioned, I am not interested in seeing it. Krishna, don't show me this form. As we have already explained, because of the situation created by the universal form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Arjuna became bewildered and wondered, and he began to offer respectful obeisances to Krishna again and again, and with faltering voice he began to pray not as a friend, but as a devotee in wonder, and also in shock. Text 36. Arjuna vachas dane rishikesha tapa prakircha jagat parishchat yanurajyate cha raksham vivitani dishodrabanti Sare namasyanti chasira sangaha. Arjuna vacha, Arjuna said, Stane, rightly, Rishika Isha, O master of the senses, Tava Yor, Prakiratya, by the glorious Jagat, the entire world. Varishyati is rejoicing. Anurajate is becoming attached. Cha, and Rakshamsi, the demons, Vitani, out of fear, Dishaha, in all directions, Davanti, are fleeing, Sarve, all, Namashanti, are offering respects, Cha, also, Siddhasangaha, the perfect human beings. Arjuna said, O master of the senses, the world becomes joyful upon hearing your name, and thus everyone becomes attached to you. Although the perfected beings offer you their respectful homage, the demons are afraid and they flee here and there. All this is rightly done. Of course, this is about Krishna's name. When we chant Krishna's name, Krishna is present, and automatically people become attached. How do they become attached, or why do they become attached? Because the name, Cheto Darpanamarjanam, the name cleanses the heart. And when the heart is cleansed, you can actually see things as they actually are, and you appreciate Krishna's beauty. But if your heart is dirty, you won't be able to appreciate things. Just like that verse in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 1st chapter, 4th verse. Puman Vidajeta Vina Pashignat. That's the last line of the verse. It says, everyone is attracted to Krishna's names and pastimes and activities, except for those who are grossly covered, like eating meat. Anyway, so when the demons hear Krishna's name, it's like, I'll give you an example. It's like when the criminals hear the sirens. Well, siren means like the sound of the police cars, and they run. And also, when Krishna's names are chanted properly, ghosts, demons, rakshasas, pisachas, that's witches, kechuris, those are witches who ride on uprooted trees, they go away. I think I told that story before. When I was in Venezuela, we would regularly go and preach and distribute books at the witch conference, the witch convention. Every year they had a witch convention. I'm not going to say it was called the Republican Convention, but anyways, it was a witch convention. And what happened is the devotees had several interesting experiences. One time a witch ran up to grab the devotee's bead bag, and she touched it, and she flew back in the air like 20 feet. The bead bag repelled her. So many experiences like that from demons or witches or black magic people who are repulsed by Krishna's holy name. Purport. Arjuna, after hearing from Krishna about the outcome of the battle of Kurukshetra, became enlightened, and as a great devotee and friend of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he said that everything done by Krishna is quite fit, that is perfect. Arjuna confirmed that Krishna is the maintainer and the object of worship for the devotees, and the destroyer of the undesirables. His actions are equally good for all. Arjuna understood herein that when the battle of Kurukshetra was being concluded, in outer space there were present many demigod siddhas and the intelligentsia of the higher planets, and they were observing the fight because Krishna was present there. When Arjuna saw the universal form of the Lord, the demigods took pleasure in it, but others who were demons and atheists could not stand it when the Lord was praised. Out of their natural fear of the devastating form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they fled. Krishna's treatment of the devotees and the atheists is praised by Arjuna. In all cases, a devotee glorifies the Lord because he knows that whatever he does, that is, whatever Krishna does, is good for all. So let's all also use Prabhupada's comparison of a cat with a mouse, and a cat with a kitten. For a devotee, having Krishna present is like being a kitten, having the mother cat there. And for someone who is, let's say, engaged in nefarious activities, having, oops, I better put everybody on mute. That was the mistake I made. Hold on a second, I gotta put everybody on mute because I did not do that in the beginning. Anyway, so for a devotee, I gotta put everybody on forcible mute. Give me 1 second. People don't always mute themselves. Done it. I've done it. You are all forcibly muted. Anyway, getting back to the point. So for a devotee, it's like having the mother cat. It's just very pleasant being taken care of by Krishna. But for an devotee, it's like he's death personified. Just like when Krishna came to Mathura, it's described that different personalities saw Krishna in different ways. For those who were not Krishna conscious, they saw him as death personified. And for those who had specific relationships with him, they saw him in terms of those relationships. So, okay, next text 37. Kasmatschate nan nam eran mahatman garishise brahmano vyadikatre ananda devesha jagan nivasha tvam aksharam sarasatat param yat. Kasmat, why, cha also, te unto you, na not, nameran, they should offer proper obeisances, maha atman, a great one, gari, say, who are better, brahmanaha than Brahma, api, although adikatre, to the supreme creator, ananta, a one limited, deva isha, O god of the gods, jagat nivasa, a refuge of the universe, tvam, you are, aksharam, imperishable, sadasat, to cause and effect, tat param, transcendental, yat, because. O great one, greater even than Lord Brahma, you are the original creator. Why should they not offer their respectful obeisances unto you? O limitless one, God of gods, refuge of the universe, you are the invincible source, the cause of all causes, transcendental to this material manifestation. I think we covered most of those things. Krishna is invincible, everything comes from him, Karanam, and Krishna is Narayana Paro Vyakta, he's transcendental. These are all points that we covered, although this particular verse is uttered in a mood of complete awe and reverence, not in the mood of friendship, which is Arjuna's natural position, but he's being overwhelmed with this opulence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and power. Purport. By this offering of obeisances, Arjuna indicates that Krishna is worshipable by everyone. He is all-pervading, and he is the soul of every soul. Arjuna is addressing Krishna as Mahatma, which means he is the most magnanimous and unlimited. Ananta indicates there is nothing which is not covered by the influence and energy of the Supreme Lord, and Devesha means that he is the controller of all demigods and is above them all. He is the shelter of the whole universe. Arjuna also thought that it was fitting that all the perfect living entities and powerful demigods offer their respectful obeisances unto him, because no one is greater than him. Arjuna especially mentions that Krishna is greater than Brahma, because Brahma is created by him. Brahma is born out of the lotus stem grown from the navel abdomen of Garbhodaksha Vishnu. We mentioned that many times before in our class. Who is Krishna's plenary expansion, and therefore Brahma and Lord Shiva, who was born of Brahma. Remember, Lord Shiva popped out of Brahma's forehead when he got really angry at his kids, the 4 Kumaras who didn't want to get married. And Lord Shiva popped out of Brahma's forehead in 11 forms called Rudras, and Brahma had to arrange a marriage for all of them so they wouldn't destroy the universe. And all the other demigods must offer their respectful obeisances. It is stated in the Srimad Bhagavatam that the Lord is respected by Lord Shiva and Brahma and similar other demigods. The word Aksharam is very significant because this material creation is subject to destruction, but the Lord is above this material creation. He is the cause of all causes, and being so, he is superior to all the conditioned souls within this material nature, as well as the material cosmic manifestation itself. He is therefore the all-great Supreme. Next text. Twamadi Deva Purusha Puranas Twamasya Vishvashva Param Nidanam Tasi Vedyam Cha Param Jadama Tvayatatam Vishwam Ananta Rupa. Twam, you, Adidevaha, the original Supreme God, Purushaha, personality, Puranaha, old, Twam, you, Asya, of this, Vishvasha, universe, Param, transcendental, Nidanam, refuge, Veta, the knower, Asi, you are, Vedyam, the knowable, Cha, and Param, transcendental, Cha, and Dhamma, refuge, Tvaya, by you, Tatam, pervaded, Vishwam, the universe, Ananta Rupa, O unlimited form. You are the original personality of Godhead, the oldest. That doesn't mean that Krishna looks old. but he always looks like a young person, the ultimate sanctuary of this manifested cosmic world. You are the knower of everything, and you are all that is knowable. So Krishna is situated in everyone's heart, and he knows what everybody is thinking, doing, planning. And Krishna, and you are all that is knowable, because if you know Krishna, you know everything. Yasmin vigate sarvam vigatam bhavati. You are the supreme refuge above the material modes, the three modes. So I'm not going to reiterate what we discussed previously in class. O limitless form, this whole cosmic manifestation is pervaded by you. In other words, there's nothing separate from Krishna's energy anywhere, spiritual, material world, marginal potency, nothing, nothing, nothing. And if you see something separate from Krishna or his energies, you are in illusion. The Bhagavatam says, Ritam na pratyeta chatmani tadvidyad atmano mayam yata basha yata tamaha. That if we see anything as separate from Krishna, we should know that to be Krishna's illusory energy, which is like a reflection that appears in darkness. In other words, it has no substantial reality. So purport, everything is resting on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, therefore he is the ultimate rest. Makes sense. Nidanam means that everything, even the Brahman effulgence, rests on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. He is the knower of everything that is happening in this world. And if knowledge has any end, he is the end of all knowledge. Now, the end doesn't mean that there ain't no more knowledge. It means the conclusion. Like you have the word Veda, which means knowledge, and the word Vedanta, which means the end of all knowledge, but doesn't mean that knowledge has ended and there's nothing else to know. It simply means that the conclusion, the ultimate conclusion, and it also means that, yeah, apart from Krishna, there's nothing else too. But Vedanta means the conclusion, the ultimate conclusion of knowledge. Because there's many types of knowledge, but what is the ultimate knowledge, the conclusion of knowledge, the perfect knowledge, the absolute knowledge that never changes, and that's Krishna. Therefore, he is known, he is the known and the knowable. He's the object of knowledge because he's all-pervading. He's always the object of knowledge. Because he's the cause in the spiritual world, he is transcendental. He is also the chief personality in the transcendental world. He's the best in everything. So next text. Vairyamogner varunat shashanka prajapatis tvam prapitamahascha namo namaste stu sahasrakritva punasjavuyopi namo namaste. Vayu, air. Yamaha, the controller. Agni, fire. Varunaha, water. Shasha Ankaha, the moon. Prajapatiki, Ramatwam Yu Pitamaha, the great grandfather Cha, also Namaha, my respects, Namaha, again my respects, Te unto you. Astu, let there be, Sahasra Kritva, 1,000 times, Punat Cha, and again, Bhuya, again, Api, also Nama, offering my respects, Namate, offering my respects unto you. You are air, and you are the supreme controller. You are fire, you are water, and you are the moon. You are Brahma, the first living creature, and you are the great-grandfather. I therefore offer my respectful obeisances unto you 1,000 times and yet again. In other words, Krishna is everything. Actually, these last two chapters pretty much elaborate on that same point. The last two chapters means chapter 10 and chapter 11, 11 from a different angle of vision, and 10 dealing with the opulences of the Absolute. The Lord is addressed here as air because air is the most important representation of all the demigods, being all-pervasive. Arjuna also addresses Krishna as the great-grandfather because he is the father of Brahma, the first living creature in the universe. Next text. Namaparastadata prishtataste namostu te sarvatrahiva sarva ananda viryamita vikramastvam sarvam samaknoshi tatosi sarvaha. Namaha, offering obeisances, prastat, from the front, ata, also prishtaha, prishtataha, from behind, te, you, Nama astu, I offer my respects, te unto you, sarvataha, from all sides, eva indeed, sarva, because you are everything, anantavirya, unlimited potency, amita vikramaha, an unlimited force, tvam, you, sarvam, everything, samapno, she, you cover, tata, therefore, asi, you are, sarva, everything. Obeisance to you from the front, from behind, and from all sides, O unbounded power, means unlimited power. You're the master of limitless might. You are all-pervading, and thus you are everything. That's pretty much repetitive. Purport. Out of loving ecstasy for Krishna, his friend Arjuna is offering his respects from all sides. He's accepting that he is the master of all potencies and all prowess, and far superior to all the great warriors assembled on the battlefield. It is said in Vishnu Purana 1969, Yoyam tavagato deva samipam deva ganaha satvam eva jagat shrashta yataksar bhagato bhavan. Whoever comes before you, even if he be a demigod, is created by you, O Supreme Personality of Godhead. Text 41 to 42. And here, Arjuna is basically apologizing to Krishna for taking him for granted. Saketi matva prasabham yaduktam, hey Krishna, hey Yadava, hey Saketi, ajannata mahi manam tavedam maya pramadat pranayena vapi, adyachchavaha sardam satkritosi, Viharashayasana Bhoganeshu Ekotya Papyachuta Tatsamaksham Taksham Ayetvam Mahamaprabhayam. Sakha, friend, iti thus, matva, thinking, prasavam, presumptuously, yat, whatever, Uktam said, hey Krishna, O Krishna, hey Yadava, O Yadava, hey Sakhe, O my dear friend, iti thus, ajanata, without knowing. Mahimanam, glories, tava, your, idam, this, maya, by me. Pramadat, out of foolishness. Pranayena, out of love. Va, api, either, yat, whatever. Cha, also. Avahasa, artam, for joking. Asatkritaha, dishonored. Asi, you have been. Vihara, in relaxation. Eka, alone. Atava, or. Api, also. Achuta, O infallible one, Tat Samaksham, among companions, Tat, all those, Ksham, I ask forgiveness, Tvam, from you, Aham, I, Aprameyam, immeasurable. Thinking of you as my friend, I have rashly addressed you, O Krishna, O Yadava, O my friend, not knowing your glories. Please forgive me whatever I have done in madness or in love. I have dishonored you many times, jesting as we relaxed, lay on the same bed, or sat, or ate together, sometimes alone, and sometimes in front of many friends. Oh, infallible one, please excuse me for all those offenses. So, let me explain what is happening here. Krishna enjoys more when the devotees approach him in an intimate way, forgetting about his supremacy. And of course, when they do that, it is not that they are in material illusion, but they are in the type of illusion called Yoga Maya. Yoga Maya makes the devotees forget Krishna's supreme position so they can relate to him in a loving way. Because when you're simply thinking of someone's greatness, it's hard to have an intimate relationship or a loving relationship. You're simply thinking of the greatness rather than of the person himself. He's great, he's rich, he's powerful, he's strong, he's renounced, he's famous, like that. He's intelligent. But you're not actually thinking of the person. You're thinking of the amazing qualities he has. But it's hard to have like a give and take relationship because, you're just like in the Adbhuta amazement stage. So, anyway, Arjuna did not commit any offenses by lying on the same bed with Krishna, joking, relaxing. I'm sure he punched him on the shoulder sometimes, or called him, hey, buddy, or made fun of him sometimes. Like friends do that. Friends sometimes joke with each other, make fun of each other, tease each other. And what would happen if you discovered your friend was God? You'd be pretty shocked. Oh my God, who was I playing? Oh my God, who was I playing with? So Arjuna is having this realization now, but this is just temporary. This is realization of Arjuna's is temporary in the sense that Krishna ordinarily makes him forget all this stuff so he can relate to Krishna in a very intimate way. But in this particular point, he's realizing Krishna's, what we say, ontological position or great position for our sake. But that's not his normal relationship with Krishna. Let me read the purport. Although Krishna is manifest before Arjuna's universal form, Arjuna remembers his friendly relationship with Krishna and is therefore asking pardon and requesting Krishna to excuse him for the many informal gestures which arise out of friendship. He is admitting that formerly he did not know that Krishna could assume such a universal form, although Krishna explained it as his intimate friend. Arjuna did not know how many times he may have dishonored Krishna by addressing him. Oh, my friend. Oh, Krishna. Oh, Yadava. Just like in a very casual way. Hey, Krishna, what are you doing today? Like that. Without acknowledging his opulence. And, it gets to the point in the pastimes in Braj that you have not only are people addressing Krishna in a very, let's say, intimate way, but they're even taking a superior position to Krishna and even chastising Krishna, getting angry with him, like Mother Yashoda. She was angry with Krishna when he broke the butter pots, and she was chasing after him with a stick, and Krishna was completely in anxiety. But Krishna was forgetting he was God in that particular point because he wanted to enjoy this particular pastime. Or when Srimati Radharani and the gopis get very angry with Krishna, and Krishna wants them to get angry with him. Krishna wants them to not understand his supreme position. Krishna specifically says things to the gopis to make them really angry. For example, Krishna will say to Srimati Radharani, your face is like the moon or many moons. And the name for many moons in Sanskrit is Chandravali, which is Radharani's so-called competitor, who is an expansion of Srimati Radharani and serving Radharani. These are all pastimes. So anyway, and then she gets angry. And then sometimes the gopis, they keep Krishna away. They take a stick and threaten Krishna, we're going to beat you if you come close again. Don't you dare come close. And if you dare come close, we're going to beat you to an inch of your life. And Krishna, being very scared, has to pull so many tricks, like dress up as a woman to get in to see Radharani again, or as a snake charmer, and so many different things, or jump in a box, So Krishna loves that. Anyway, so these are intimate relationships. And Vrindavan, the relationships are far more intimate than the relationship that Arjuna had with Krishna. Because in Vrindavan, you have the most intimate relationships. And outside of Vrindavan, like in Dwarka, they're intimate to an extent, but not to the same degree as the Vrindavan relationships. Arjuna's intimate relationship, but not that intimate. And of course, Krishna has his friends in Dwarka. Krishna has his wives in Dwarka, and his wives, they're intimate with Krishna, but not as intimate as the gopis are with Krishna. So, anyway, Krishna is so kind and merciful that in spite of such opulence, he played with Arjuna as a friend. In other words, Krishna likes loving relationships more than his opulences. In fact, Krishna exhibits his opulences by expanding himself in his various avatars or expansions, to use a precise word. That's when when Krishna is as Krishna, the Goloka Krishna, Brajendra Nandana, then he's not showing his opulences. So even in Vrindavan, when Krishna begins to show his opulences or his powers or his ability to kill the demons who appear to harass him, he expands himself to do that. Because in his original mood, Because by expansions, we're talking about different moods that the Lord has. Okay, let's make that very clear. It's not different personalities. There's different moods. The Lord has different moods, and he can have different moods simultaneously in unlimited circumstances. So, in the different mood when he kills the demons, it's not the same mood as when he's dancing with the gopis. That's obvious. So, such is the transcendental loving reciprocation between the devotee and the Lord. The relationship between the living entity and Krishna is fixed eternally. It cannot be forgotten, as we can see from the behavior of Arjuna. In other words, each and every one of us has a fixed, transcendental, loving relationship with Krishna. That means we are either the servants of Krishna, of course we're all servants of Krishna, sorry about this, but servitude as plain old servitude, or servitude as Krishna's friend, or servitude as Krishna's parent, or servitude as the lover of Krishna, the conjugal loving relationships. And included in that particular category is servants of Srimati Radharani who assist Srimati Radharani in her service to Krishna. In this way, they're serving Krishna. So we have that, and we've forgotten what our relationship is. Right now, we're thinking that what am I? I'm a sannyasi. I'm thinking I'm an advanced sannyasi in the Hare Krishna movement. Or I'm thinking I am an American. God bless America, although, I'm looking into citizenship in other countries right now. Or I'm thinking I'm an American, or I'm thinking I'm 71 years old, God forbid. I don't want to think about that. Or I'm thinking so many things that are all upadis. They're just designations, temporary designations. Because in some years from now, there ain't going to be this external manifestation. As we say in German, it will be kaputt. For those of you who don't know what kaputt means, it means finished. Was, no more. So we are not these external things. But we have this amazing relationship with Krishna. And by chanting, what will happen? You'll gradually, as Krishna describes in the Gita, just like when the sun comes up in the morning, you gradually see like shadows, black and white stuff. Eventually you see some colors. And eventually you will understand fully who you are. In the beginning, it may be just a spurti. That means just like a brief, boom, coming attraction. And then at the end, it's like full technicolor, trying to think of a film analogy anyway, 3D or 10D experience, a full experience in the spiritual world. And then you will never come down again, as Prabhupada used to say, chant Hare Krishna and stay high forever. So anyway, Arjuna seeing the opulence in the universal form, he still cannot forget his friendly relationship with Krishna, because that's much sweeter. The universal form realization is not sweet. It's frightening. It is shocking. It interferes with one's personal relationship with Krishna. But here, in this particular case, it was necessary. All right, on that happy note, we will take some questions from everybody. Hold on, I have to allow you to ask questions. Takes 1 second. Teacher like this said, it would be nice to know more about that education system. I think in the future, I'd like to have some discussions, an interview with Champaka about the education system, but that's not tonight. So, who wants to ask a question? Uh-oh, no one. Everyone is shy tonight. Oh, Mayapur, what's your question? Ask.
Obeisances. So, what if we have repeated experiences of awe and reverence basically imposed on us because of experiencing the opulences of a pure devotee, and then we're kind of shamed into extreme awe and reverence. And we know that that's not the most pleasing place to be for anyone as far as receiving service. So what do we do with that?
Well, usually with a relationship with a pure devotee, it doesn't become like. Of course, there are exceptions, as you know, Mr. Mayapur. But anyway, it's not like, hey, buddy, surf's up. You know, it's not. It's not exactly. Anyway, like Prabhupada, I never envisioned that sort of relationship with Prabhupada, like the friendly relationship. He's my eternal father. So he's just like, anyway, my relationship with Krishna, hopefully it'll be a little intimate, not just God the Father. Because the problem with God the Father is that that means he becomes my servant. Or at least it never really gets that close with God the Father. So we want God to be our buddy or to be our, anyway, master or to be our kid. Imagine God as your child. What's your son's name? God. Well, we were just speaking about Devahuti and Kapila Dev, who was the son of Devahuti. And she actually surrendered to her son. She said to Lord Kapila Dev, you are my transcendental I. And please save me from this horrible suffering in this material world. So anyway, sometimes we do have eternal awe and reverent relationships, and in other cases, they're intimate relationships. But our relationship with Krishna, if we're going back to Goloka Vrindavan, now, not that everybody goes to Goloka Vrindavan, you may go to Vaikuntha, and then you can just fly around on another bird that's an expansion of Garuda, and you can have your own Lakshmi there. So anyway, but I'm going back to Goloka Vrindavan, or I'm staying in the material world and serving Goloka Vrindavan. One of the two. That's the only choices I've given Krishna. Krishna, you don't have any other choice. Either I'll stay here and serve Prabhupada eternally, and I'd rather do that actually, or I'll go back to Goloka Vrindavan and be intimate with you. You got that choice. Anyway, how to answer the question. So anyone else have a question?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Madhav Das.
Madhva, it's good to hear from you.
Hare Krishna. So there was a statement here in the purport that, like Arjuna, every living entity's relationship with Krishna is fixed. So
Yeah.
how can we limit Krishna? Krishna is unlimited. So how can we understand this statement? It is fixed. So it means Krishna cannot accept, or no one can otherwise wish to be indifferent. Only he or she, any individual can be mother, father, friend, X, Y, Z. How can he be limited? How can we put a limitation on him?
Why is it limited?
Because once you say relationship is fixed with every
No,
living
fixed
entity, fixed.
means
What does that mean?
fixed means it's of a specific type, but there's still endless variety and then endless choice within the relationship.
Okay.
Just like, let's say, all right, let's say I may be the spiritual master of someone here, and well, it's not. Hopefully, some people are, but anyway, so hopefully some people listen to me. But anyway, but to say it's fixed means that I'm the guru and they're the disciple. But they can do all sorts of weird things in the meantime. Not that they should do weird things, but they can. I mean, the relationship is just like it's just like unlimited in variety. I mean, I've experienced that there's many people with a fixed relationship with me as guru, but there's unlimited flavors. I mean, every day, disciples like shock me with things I've never seen before in my whole life. So the relationship is fixed as disciple and guru. You know, we have one disciple who opens doors with an axe, you know.
Thank you. Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you.
So I'm just giving a funny example, but
No, no,
basically,
this makes easy to understand, because the moment I heard that word fixed, I got lost. How? But by giving such example, flavor, you talk about this humorous example by X, somebody trying to do something, listen to you as a disciple. I think it's very, we will never get ever that question again, how it is not fixed.
yes.
So this is great. This is very good.
Thank you for that example.
So much fun to understand, so much fun and easy to understand that way.
Yeah, I'm trying to give it an easy to understand. I mean, just like, or let's talk about it in terms of rasa theology. So someone's relationship may be fixed as a friend of Krishna, but then you have the 7 indirect rasas that sort of flavor that relationship from time to time. The 5 relationships, you know, the 5 rasas are actually fixed in terms of what one is, but there's unlimited flavor within each one of those that are flavored by the 7 indirect rasas, like humor, Bhuta, shock, chivalry, anger. You know, you have all these indirect rasas that flavor the direct. It's unlimited variety. I'm just like Prabhupada talked about one time. He was talking about milk products. He said you can make thousands of different preparations for milk. You know, thousands of different preparations for milk. So, and if you go to Bengal, you see, and it's just milk, and they're making thousands of different preparations. There's unlimited variety in that, and or from vegetables. I mean, I can cook quinoa 1,001 ways, maybe.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you.
It's still quinoa though. But anyway,
Thank you.
so any other questions? I try to illustrate these things by really outlandish examples. Oh, Shruti Priya, you have a question?
Yeah, Shri Gurudev. Champaka and I were reading in the Srimad Bhagavatam, and it was saying, it's about the rasas, that you can't, like, there can only be rasa exchange between species to species. But
That's
I was wondering, because, like, you see people really attach their pets, like they think of them like a brother, or, I don't know, like.
Yeah, let me explain that. That's actually a good question that other people have asked me. Because Prabhupada says, rasa exchange means there really has to be a meeting of minds. You can have a sort of relationship with your pet. Yes, that's true. But the pet doesn't know really what you're thinking, and you don't know what the pet's thinking. And the example I gave sometimes, and it's really like a shocking example, is that sometimes in India or in other places where you see the dog is licking your nose, and you're thinking the dog loves me. And then, oh my God, I don't know if I should give this example. And when there's a dead body, oh my God. When there's a dead body, that's the first part that gets eaten. Anyway, so, I mean, it's not, the dog does have affection for you. I'm not trying to say it, but it's not, you don't really have a meeting of minds. I mean, sometimes I see people who get married, and I wonder if they're the same species. Because they don't. They don't really understand each other. I mean, it's just like, sorry about that. There's this book, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. So, I mean, there's all sorts of funny things about men trying to understand women or women trying to understand men. What is that? There was one joke I forget right now. I forget, oh yeah, someone asked God, someone asked God something. He said, build a bridge. I'm just making part of the joke up right now. Build a bridge from America to Europe. Okay, no problem, because God was ready to give everything. And the other one, and the man asked, help me understand ladies. And God said, that's impossible. So, sorry about that one. So anyway, I know I'm going to catch heat for this one. So the point is, I'm just making a joke there. But the point is, even if men and women have such trouble communicating with each other and understanding each other's minds, when there's an animal with a different species than a human being, you don't really know what they're thinking. You can have a loving relationship with them. I'm not saying that. I mean, I love cows. I used to have a pet cow. She would lick me in the head. And I had so many nice stories I had with my cow. Uh, and, she would respond by name. She would take prasadam with me. Very nice. But I'm not saying that I know that I actually had a meeting of minds with my cow. Or maybe I did on the spiritual platform. If I could relate to someone on the spiritual platform, yes. But if I'm relating on the bodily platform, you don't, because it's different. So yes, like Lord Chaitanya was able to exchange rasas with animals because he was relating on the spiritual platform. So if you're very Krishna conscious, yes, on the spiritual platform you can exchange ras with an animal. How about that? That's meant to please everybody without aggravating too many people. And if you're on the spiritual platform, you can have an open communication with your wife and children too. So isn't that hope? So better to become Krishna conscious. Otherwise, you'll never understand each other. You could be married for 50 years and you'll never understand each other until you're Krishna conscious. All right, I think I got myself out of trouble. So I think it's, before I say anything else, I think I have to end class. And,
Gurudev,
uh-oh, who's this?
this is Sumuk Das.
Sumuk Das. Yeah, what's up?
Yes, on Friday morning, my mom left the body.
Oh, my
Yeah.
condolences.
And I was reading the previous night. I was reading the Bhagavad Gita for her for whole night till morning 4:30. Then I did some Mangalarti. But 5:45, she left the house. And
So by your mercy, she has now become devotee in her next life.
thank you, Gurudev. So as a son, anything else I need to do for the ceremony and things like that?
Well, I think follow the normal traditional ceremony there in Fiji. Do you have Gokul Bandhu to do the funeral?
No, he was busy, so Krishna Prabhu did it.
Yeah, the Krishna, and then have the devotees chant. And
Okay.
distribute prasad on sponsor some sort of feast or food distribution to the Vaishnavas.
We'll do that.
That's the main thing. So we'll just all pray for your mother, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Will pray that she attains a better destination. Okay, thank you very much. All glories to His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki